We have 5 Premier League games to talk you through, of course, during this winter break. Half the games this weekend, half the games next weekend. And there's plenty of talking points to discuss. Hope you are aware. Thank you very much indeed for joining us right here on the Premier League Run-Out Show. The usual suspects are joining me. Did you enjoy your winter break, boys? How are you?
Yeah, I can't remember when we last come on, to be honest.
I know. Long time.
FA Cup last week, so yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, all okay then, boys?
Yeah.
Bearing up, mate. Bearing up.
Good stuff, of course. Spurs and Villa both getting a point today away from home. We'll get onto that a little bit later on. Josh, are you content or not? Because I'm sure your granddad is.
Can't really complain. Point on the road, but I'm not best pleased with the performance, to be honest.
There we go. A point on the road, can't complain. Sean? Ooh.
A bit more, probably mixed feelings, really. Very frustrated. I thought we should have won. I think it's 2 points dropped a little bit, but then I got to keep reminding myself they had 12 missing. 5, as Gary Neville kept saying in commentary, that was 5 starters, big starters missing.
Yeah,
but I got to keep reminding myself of the bigger picture where I think the team and club's heading at the moment.
There we go. Let's scale our minds all the way back to Friday night, where this was rearranged due to FA Cup action. Sean, it was at Turf Moor, to remind yourself. Burnley 1, Luton Town 1. A point doesn't do either side much good here, Sean, to be honest. But yeah, a bit of a strange one. I know you didn't watch it, but I did.
Yeah, it's one of those games. I forgot it was even on, to be honest. And then I think I found out that, was it Norwich v Hull? I think I found out that game was on before the Premier League one. So yeah, I know we don't agree. I thought the last minute winner. I was amazed it was equaliser. Sorry, I was amazed it was disallowed. I know people get fed up with goalkeepers having protection, but I don't even think that was one of those instances. Really, I just don't think. I think everyone was expecting it to be disallowed. It was. I don't know. I don't like to go on about decisions over and over again, but it just seems like it's most games now we get something a bit ridiculous, and I don't know whether they're even just scared to give decisions sometimes now. Because just thinking then, like in the FA Cup, the Calvert-Lewin sending off for Everton. Well, so that's another example of the mess of it. Like the on-field referee didn't give a red card, so then the chap sat in the office, whoever they are, they decided it was a red card, and then the people above them said they were wrong and it wasn't a red card. So
and then they went on and rescinded it. Listen, I think the one at Turf Moor, look, the question I'll ask, and I'll ask this to Josh as well, is that if that's an outfield player, so say that's the Luton, or that's the whatever, that's the Burnley centre half, whoever, that gets sort of pushed a little bit or barged into a little bit, and he falls to the ground, everyone goes, get up, come on, get on with it. I think, in my opinion, I don't think anyone batted an eyelid about it, and everyone moves on. I think it's just because it's the keeper. I don't think he's getting to the ball. That doesn't matter. I don't think Trafford's getting anywhere near the ball. I know Hara and Hendry had a little bit of a spat about this on Sky earlier, and they had differing opinions on it. The clear thing we've got to come back to, Josh, is, was it clear and obvious? Was there enough there for the VAR to go, do you know what, it's a foul on Trafford, the goal shouldn't have been given, and then they would have come to and overturned the decision? What was your take on it, Josh?
I've got to be honest, I did not watch the game. I heard a lot of controversy. I'll just have a look at it now. But yeah, I literally didn't even know the game was on, to be honest, until I checked the score. But now,
I was the only one watching it then. Oh, Sean was watching Traitors. Josh was doing whatever. Honestly, Premier League football. And to be fair, it wasn't a bad game as well. I looked at it and went, oh my God, Burnley Luton, but it wasn't that bad. But anyway, right, we'll move on because no one's got a clue about that game. I'll get some proper pundits next week. There were no Saturday 3:00 games, so we move over to the Saturday 5:30 game, and this one didn't disappoint. I enjoyed this watch. Newcastle 2, Manchester City 3. We'll go straight over to you firstly, Josh. Yeah, good game of football, and the Kevin De Bruyne impact was evident straight away.
Yeah, I thought first 20, 30 minutes, I thought City were in cruise control. Obviously, they got the goal. Bernardo Silva, very, very good team goal, and the flick for the finish. And I thought from then it was going to be about 3 or 4-0, and it could be the start of like City's second half of the season run to usually go on. Now, obviously, Newcastle turned it round very quickly from 2 counter-attacks, which they were clinical in, to be fair, literally in a blink of an eye. They turned the game around and they were 2-1 up. Then second half, Kevin De Bruyne just comes on and completely changed the game. And that's what they've been missing, really. Just, that killer ball when against the low block to break them down and just completely change the game and got the win for them. And I do think they probably will go on that run now that before go on after the first 20 minutes of that game, because I think that'll give them a lot of momentum. That will win like that in the last minute, and the young lad coming on and scoring as well for them to win it. As for Newcastle, I didn't realise how low in the league they were. I think they're down to 10th now. It's not looking great for them, and with the Saudi owners, it wouldn't even surprise me if they sack Eddie Howe if they keep getting results like this in a few weeks. We play them next, so I don't know what's going to happen there, but we have quite a decent record against them at home. But I just can't imagine the Saudis are the type to like give him time. Just the usual ones like expect miracles. So if that was a chance, well, I thought with no Europe they'd be a bit better, but I don't know. Maybe when they get a few more of the players back, they'll be okay. But they are quite a few that have come back now, like Botman, Burn, Easter. They're all back now and they're still not doing the best. But you can't really be too harsh on them. They have played Manchester City, but I think it's something like 1 win, about 7 now for them. I also saw something saying that they've only got 4 points away from home all season, so that's also not great for them. But now I think they'll probably come around 8th or 9th to getting Champions League. Obviously had a massive effect on them. But as for City, I think they should go on that run now. They always go in second half of the season, but I think De Bruyne is definitely one to get in the fantasy team now.
Josh is eyeing him up. Yeah, look, I thought this was quite a good game, and to be honest, yeah, but there was 5 very good goals in that game. That Bernardo Silva one was very good. A couple in quite quick succession for Newcastle, and then just effortless from Kevin De Bruyne. He just didn't seem like he broke a sweat by picking up the ball. Fantastic ball through from Rodri and just passed it straight into the corner. And it's just the class that he brings with him, and then that young lad to win it at the end. Bosh into the back of the net. We've discussed at length Newcastle and Eddie Howe's future, Sean, but they are down to 9th or 10th now or something like that, and I think he'll be a little bit I don't know what the word is, a little bit concerned. I think the owners at the end of the season might call it a day and try and get somebody else in. You called it very early on in the season. I think you could be right.
Yeah, it's a strange look. I'm starting to see a few Newcastle fans pop up moaning about him as well on Twitter. I don't know if some Newcastle fans are getting a bit above their station because they've had 1 year in the Champions League where they didn't do very well. Simple as that. I don't know if... I think Eddie Howe's probably got more out of some of the players than other managers would have. I don't think on paper still as good a team as what some of their fans probably think it is. They made a couple of good signings. If you look at their lineup now, there's still not a massive amount of quality in there. So you would expect them to be better than 10th, but I did expect them to have a drop-off. I think I said that as well at the start of the season. I didn't strongly rate the league last season, as you know, as well, other than the top 2. So I remember saying when Newcastle United got the Champions League spots, I didn't think it took a good team to get those 2 spots last year. And obviously, I know Villa, West Ham, Brighton got the league spaces below that. I don't think the league was at the high standard last season, below the bottom 2. So to see Newcastle drop off, obviously they're probably dropping off more than they thought they would. Doesn't surprise me massively, really. Obviously, they've had injuries. Like a few clubs have had a lot of real bad injury things, and they're one of them. But yeah, there's still. I think that their squad is probably about a top eight squad. Like
It is, and I think it emphasises how good they ended up being last season in terms of league position. Because when you look at some of the players that are in that starting 11, I watched it last night, and Dan Burn, I think, has been revolutionary for them. And they've got Sean Longstaff in midfield. Anthony Gordon keeps popping up, and look, I just think that this is probably where they're going to be unless they get the reinforcement of funds, which it doesn't look like they're going to get in January. Not many people are. Eddie Howe came out and said, we ain't going to sign Solanke, we ain't going to sign whoever, because we're under the tight restrictions that FFP are imposing under pretty much every club hunting in that top 10. So look, I think they'll potter around 8th to 10th until the end of the season. And I think they will make a change next summer. Right, let's take some comments. Josh's granddad, I hope you're well. A Watford fan. Hello, guys. I support Watford, but still watch Premier League highlights. Thank you very much indeed for joining us for the Luton game. Josh's granddad thought it was a foul. There we go. Newcastle game was a good game for the neutral. Lawrence, I hope you are well. Luke as well. Pete Gattano from a freezing cold Detroit. It's been cold over there, isn't it? -12. Oh, my Lord. We all get, the country goes on a shutdown when we get 3 flakes of snow and it goes under -1. -12. That is not nice. That is not nice. But let's move on. Let's fire through the next one. Straight over to you. We're going to you first, Sean. Chelsea 1, Fulham 0. And do you know what? I watched most of this game as well. And yeah, it was okay.
Yeah, Chelsea started to pick up a few results lately, haven't they? I think there's a little run they're going on.
Yeah.
If they win, lose, or draw, they just don't look great, I don't think.
No.
They just don't seem... They're not good on the eye. They're not exciting. You watch them and they don't fill me with a lot of confidence that they're going to grow. Like Pochettino, he's fair play to him. He's talked non-stop. Like this is just the beginning and there's good things to come and all that sort of stuff. But again, it's a bit like Newcastle. The new owners, they sacked. Who was the manager? Tuchel wanted to win the Champions League. They sacked him quick. They got rid of Potter. They've scattergunned the transfer market again a little bit. Not many of their players they've bought in have blown me away. I know a few, again, have been out injured, but I just wonder... I know this on the back of it, the win we're talking now, but it won't take a lot for the fans to turn because Pochettino is still viewed as a Tottenham boy. Chelsea, you think you dislike Tottenham. They're not on the same level as like Chelsea don't dislike Tottenham. I just find it quite strange. Probably the strangest football club in the league, I find Chelsea at the moment. You never quite know what they're doing. You never know what's around the corner. Like they could win 5 in a row, then lose 5 in a row.
Exactly.
I'll be honest, I just don't. I usually can, most clubs, you can look at them and say, that's their identity. They haven't, but Chelsea, I can't figure them out really. I don't know. I think Fulham probably, I know did they win their first leg against Liverpool? No, they lost it 2-1.
No, they lost 2-1.
Yeah, so I know in this month there's not many Premier League games, is there? So it might come at the right time for them. Obviously, got the second leg. I'm guessing that's next week. I'd imagine it comes down pretty quick. So that's their priority. Just turn out to be quite. I watched a bit of it. This one, to be honest, because nothing better to do, and it was quite a dull game. Like it's one of them games where whoever wins it, they want a lot going on, really. To be honest.
Yeah, I think that size sums it up. And it wouldn't surprise anyone if Borough turn Chelsea over again next week and they make it through to a Carabao Cup final. And look, Fulham are a side that I think blow hot and cold and are probably an example of that mid-table side that won't go too far. Let's go next to Goodison Park. Come on then, Josh. Everton 0, Aston Villa 0. And do you know what? I think they put the stat up on Sky about no 0-0s in 96 games through Unai Emery or whatever. But I don't think it was a bad 0-0. I thought for, as 0-0s go, I thought it was quite an entertaining 0-0. What did you make of it, Josh?
Yeah, it's just, firstly, I'll start by saying the referee again. He had
straight into the referee. Go on.
No control in the game whatsoever. It was the same one we had against Brentford where he also lost control of the game completely and Kamara ended up getting sent off. The disallowed goal, I don't know. To me, it's just from one. It's a bit like the one Newcastle scored against Arsenal, where that was allowed, but like from one angle it looked off, but then from a couple of others it looked like he's on. But then they were only showing the one angle on Sky. I think they showed a couple of other angles. One where he looked on side, and the other angle, he did look off, to be fair, but they weren't really showing you any other angles. But therefore, it's not really even obvious, is it? If he looked on from a couple of angles. So I didn't quite agree with that. And then second half, the game was just really stop-start. James Tarkowski, again, I thought we should have had a penalty. It's a bit like the one Romero did against Spurs, and he got sent off for that one. Not saying it was quite as bad, but it was like that when he wins the ball and then follows through aggressively, not really much control in it. And then the second one as well that he did by the corner flag, also completely out of control. And then he just ended up booking a couple of our players and theirs, to be fair, just for like stupid things. And that just, rattled both teams more, and like he thought that gave him more control of the game. It didn't really. We just moved the ball so slow though second half. Well, like sometimes the way we play in away games, you'd think we're 2 or 3-0 up, with how slow the tempo is. We just didn't really move the ball quick enough at all. Both sides had chances. I'd probably say we had the better one second half, but then they also could have had a couple first half. It wasn't bad for a 0-0, as you said, but I just thought we moved the ball so slowly and the tempo was not great whatsoever. But the referee, the second half, just lost all control. We've had him quite a few times this season, David Cousin. He never seems to do great. Same thing happened to Brentford last month, where he lost control and we ended up losing our main player for 3 games. But it's a point against a good side who are good at home. Not really a good side, it's bottom half side, but they're quite decent at home, so you've got to take that clean sheet either. So it's one of them really, from up to third still, but it weren't a great game, to be honest.
Yeah, I think I'm inclined to agree about that Tarkowski tackle, and I think linking it to that Romero one's probably the nearest that you can get to it. I mean, it was, he won the ball, but there was no control over it. I think you're right there, and he did go quite, quite assertively into the man. And look, if you're going to pick out any fault in that, I think that probably should have been a penalty, and then the game would have been different. I think that was on the hour mark, and that would have opened it up to all possibilities. But I think for Villa, it's got to go down in a top 4 race. Probably 2 points lost away from home. Everton will be glad for the point. They were level on points with Luton up until that game this afternoon. So there's that little bit of a gap between them and the relegation zone. Now let's take some of your comments before we move on to the Super Sunday game. Sharky, hope you well. He says Kudus is not in the matchday squad. They're senior for Ghana. That is good then. He's expected to be available for the next match against Egypt. I hope they go out in the group stage and we get Kudus back as soon as possible. Lawrence says no good 0-0 when Watkins is your FPL captain. Oh dear, Lawrence. Oh dear. I had to take the point before the match started, and I think you're right to be honest. Absolutely. Luke says Everton will stay up, just being annoying to break down. It's a Dyche team, isn't it? It's what they are going to do. Lawrence has sent us a picture of his food that he's done on his grill. I can't make out. Is that shrimp? Sean, would you eat that?
I can't even see what it is.
Lawrence, what are they?
Is that something wrapped in bacon?
It is. It looks like pigs in blankets, but I'm sure it's not. And I presume they're ribs.
That's a rack of ribs. That is. That's right.
Ribs. Yeah. Very good, Larry. Very good, Larry. Right. That's our food interval. Before we move to Old Trafford, yes, it was Old Trafford. I've literally just watched it. Manchester United 2, Spurs 2 on balance. Sean, I thought Spurs were the better side, but McTominay should have taken all 3 points for Manchester United right at the end.
Yeah, I thought Spurs were the better side. I thought they controlled it. They by far the most amount of chances. It's I've got mixed feelings about it a little bit. If I isolate the game just as the game, then it probably wasn't a bad point considering how many players we've got out. But when I mean players out, it's not me moaning and making excuses. We've got 12 out. and 5 definite starters, and mainly the creativity in the midfield as well. So to go out there, still have most of the, well, I think like 62% possession or something like that. More shots on goal with that sort of midfield. The front three we had to play are all very similar, direct sort of running players. They're not known for the link up, any of the three really. If I isolate it, it's probably a good performance. Like I said, they're a better side. But then I've got to remind myself that we did have so many out and that we're still up there. But at this stage of the season, I think this team has got a very high ceiling, to be quite honest, with the manager. We've got 2 signings in already. I think Werner could be a very astute signing. I think for a six-month loan, obviously, he's obviously got a lot of ability in him. If he hits the ground running and gets back to his old form, we've got a cheap £14 million signing. If he doesn't, he goes back and we get other players back in fit. So that's a clever little signing. And we got the young centre back that we chased for the last 6 weeks, and he turned down Bayern Munich in the last minute. So everything's positive. The form, we got our 2 centre backs. Don't really think they look, especially Romero, didn't think he looked fully fit. Yeah. Both have been out. Like Van de Ven hasn't kicked the ball on the field for 2 months. I think Romero hasn't played for a month maybe. So to chuck them both in, so that's 2. They can't be 100% fit because you never really are after that long out. But I feel very, very positive about this Tottenham team. Like I remember when you did your show at the start of the season, and you said who's going to be the surprise package. I said it'd be us straight away, and I think by saying that, I actually think I even underestimated him myself. I think I've said to you this many times, and I know it's ifs and buts, and everyone gets injuries. Without the extreme amount of players we've got missing, because we had 2 missing with illness today, on top of injuries and the African nations and the Asia Cup. I still think we'd be top of the league without that Chelsea game where the wheels completely fell off of injuries and red cards, which is partly our own fault. I think we'd probably be top or second up there with City. But like Ange keeps saying, he keeps reminding the press, this is just the start, very much the start. But I haven't felt this positive about a manager and what he's creating and the transfer market. Some of the transfers we signed in the last 18 months have been top drawer. Like Van de Ven looks as good as any centre back about. Our fullbacks have just seen one of these sort of stat pages asking them whether we've got the best fullback partnership in the league. You're not going to find many better left backs in world football than Udogie at the moment. Man City are chasing Porro, buying him back. Sar's come through. The keeper's top drawer. Do you know what I mean? I'm struggling to fault too much of what the club's doing at the moment, put it that way. And I do feel very positive about it going forward. They might not achieve the highest of goals this season, but I'd be very confident we'd be very, very good next year. And I think we'll finish the season strong as well.
Yeah, I think it's probably a fair assessment with the injuries and all the issues they've had there. The only thing that I noticed today is that obviously you'll be hoping to get Son back as soon as possible, because I thought Brennan Johnson was probably the only Spurs player that I could pick out that was very poor today. I think I'm struggling to see what he does at this current moment in time.
He looks like a confidence player a little bit. But he's enough. We got a very, very young team. Don't forget, our team's very, very young. We're buying young players. I think Romero's our oldest defender, and he's 25. I think Johnson is 21, 22. I think he's had a run of about 8 starts. He probably was brought in to like a bit of a work in progress. I know he's 50 million. Sounds daft, saying a work in progress, but that's probably what he was. They see potential. There's a lot of signs are data driven. But it is frustrating not having the players. But like Kulusevski, he's been playing in the middle to replace Maddison, and now he goes down with an illness. So,
just to finish things off, Josh, I'm sure you watched this.
Yeah, I did.
Fire away with some final thoughts then before we go.
Yeah, they've been Tottenham a better side. No one's really criticised United too much, but I didn't think they were great. And just sort of played in the counter, let Spurs at the ball, which I suppose is fair enough for the game plan, and that's what Spurs like to do. And I think with some of the players like Son or a few of the midfielders back, I think they probably would have won the game today. Spurs, they also probably had the better chances as well. I'd say. So yeah, that's it. They should have won it at the end. However, United dominated. That's City really with form even in the season. Probably back into score there. And I will say though about United, they looked a lot more clinical today on the counter. Rashford and Højlund definitely looked a lot better. I'm still not fully convinced by Højlund whatsoever. At 20 years old, so I don't think you can expect much. He's the only way, like Keane said. He's the only striker at the club really, because Martial's never really available. And that's a lot of pressure for a 20-year-old, and buying him for 70 or 80 million is just a bit ridiculous really. But fair play to him, he took his goal well. And yeah, Rashford also looks back to his best. I think that wing game he played well, but you probably expect him to against them. But he looked quite promising again today. Yeah, that's about it really. I think Spurs probably the best team, but United took the chances when they got them.
They did. They did. So there we go. Thank you very much indeed for watching. Do you know what? Just before we go, I'm going to say I thoroughly enjoyed this weekend. I didn't have any concerns, any fears. West Ham didn't play, no stress. I just watched everybody else play. If we could have more of these.
Why did they? I might have missed it. It's probably why did they do this weird thing with the last couple of weeks?
Well, because it's supposed to help teams, because it's supposed to be a winter break, so they're just spreading it out a bit. So the teams who've got AFCON and Asia Cup players don't have to play as many games. I think that's what I've got from it.
Right, yeah. I just found it strange, like no free kickoffs.
Yeah, it was a bit weird.
Yeah, just found it all a bit odd, really. But there you go.
Yeah, I suppose the option they could have done is either put all of the games, so put 10 games on this weekend and then no games on next weekend, and then we go back to normal the weekend after, but they've just decided to just prolong it out over 2. I don't know, it's a bit strange, but yeah, so it's been a stress-free West Ham weekend. Out to Bristol City on Tuesday, honestly. I'm not looking forward to the outcome of that. I'm a bit concerned, to be honest with you. But yeah, there'll be a build-up to that preview tomorrow night, and then we'll be up there. Not too far to go for us, luckily, out to Bristol City on Tuesday. Vlog for that, and then we'll be building up to the Sheffield United game, which we're also going to a bit of a further trip up to Sheffield next Sunday. But Josh and Sean, thank you very much indeed. Your teams are off next weekend, so enjoy your winter break.
I will. They need a rest. They need the break now.
And yeah. Josh, a time for Unai Emery's lot to regroup.
Yeah, to recover after the first ever 0-0 for Emery. So yeah, definitely looked a bit leggy last few weeks. So yeah, I figured to come at a good time really.
Come at a good time. There we go. Thank you very much for watching. Drop a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much to my guests as always. And until the next one, come on you Irons, and we'll see you soon right here on West Ham Unofficial. Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Yeah, cheers.